Dustan Poirier vs. Conor McGregor trilogy fight. This is my prediction. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Join the family. Alright, so obviously we've seen what just happened with all the leg kicks that Dustin was throwing, and his boxing looked pretty good in the last fight. It definitely showed that Dustin's a better fighter right now. The big question is can Conor come back from just that mindset he's in of being so rich, and he has so many excuses for why he lost. I've been looking at his Instagram and everything. He's going to switch it up, he said, with a new game plan. I'm not too sure how that's going to work yet. It could work, but most likely not. I just see Dustin piecing him up this fight. I think it's going to last longer, though, because Conor, even though he got knocked out or TKO'd, he has a good chin. You can't take that away from him. Conor has historically had a pretty dang good chin. I mean, Dustin was the first guy to actually finish him like that, so I could actually see this going the full 5 if it's 5 rounds this time. I went back and I rewatched the fight, and Conor definitely landed the better shots. He's the better actually boxer. The shots were a lot heavier, but Dustin, he just lands those sneaky punches, and those leg kicks are really what did it. If Conor can learn how to check those leg kicks properly, I think Dustin's going to be in big trouble early. But Dustin ate some good shots from Conor, so I'm not too sure on that. And can Dustin use his wrestling again? Because I feel like that played a mental role. He took Conor down pretty easily in that fight. I was surprised because Dustin took him down easier than Khabib did, so that was kind of weird. So I think Conor's going to have to switch it up to his old karate style, and he's just going to have to fight more loose. In that fight, he looked very stiff, and that's a problem. As for his gas tank, we didn't really see how far he could go. He obviously didn't have staph infection like the first fight with Nate Diaz. But I see this being a lot like the Nate Diaz 2 fight, where they just went at it for 5 rounds. Except this time, I think Dustin's going to utilize wrestling in the later rounds of the fight. He's just going to land more output. I just don't see how Conor can check all those leg kicks over 5 rounds. Like, maybe for 1 or 2 rounds, but I feel like they're going to catch up later in the fight no matter what. Because Dustin can go the full 5 and keep a really good pace. I mean, you've seen this in the Max Holloway. He's basically like Max Holloway, but a power puncher. So I think it's going to give Conor some real problems. He's going to definitely have to mix it up. Clinch-wise, I like Conor in the clinch. I think Conor has a better clinch. I like the shoulder strikes he was throwing. But Dustin definitely has better wrestling. Okay, I take that back. I think they're about even on the wrestling, because for most of the Khabib fight, Conor actually survived, or Dustin got choked out pretty early. One thing I will say about that Khabib fight, though, was I feel like Dustin landed the better shots in the Khabib fight. Like, he hurt Khabib one time and was just chasing after him with the flurry. And we never seen that in the Conor fight, him coming at him with a flurry, which I think Conor was expecting to get a counter punch in there. So if Dustin stays reserved in their trilogy fight, I think it's going to give Conor problems, and he doesn't rush in with a flurry of punches. I mean, he could like in rounds 4 and 5, but yeah, I think he's going to work those leg kicks again, utilize some wrestling. Except this time, I think Conor's going to stuff his takedowns, because that'd be pretty embarrassing. Conor's going to have to change that. It's really hard to predict Conor anymore, because like Conor in his prime, I definitely would have picked him easy. I think the last fight really helped all the casuals see that Conor's vulnerable to being knocked out now. He's not this invincible figure in the UFC. But I think that Conor does better in rematches, and I know you could say the last fight was a rematch, but I mean like right after. Look at the Nate Diaz one. He got his ass whooped early. He would have got knocked out. He shot for a takedown, then got choked out by Nate Diaz, and probably the most embarrassing loss other than this one. And that put a trigger in him for motivation and just wanting revenge. And I think that's what's going to happen here, possibly, is Conor wants revenge. But the question is it too late in his career? Like, Was that a one-time thing, or can he have that fire in him to get revenge again? Because that was a pretty embarrassing loss for Conor. Um, the same rules apply. Like from the first fight, I thought that Conor was going to come out and KO him, which could still very easily happen. That's why I would give Dustin a 60% chance of winning and Conor still 40% because he could very easily come out here rounds 1 or 2 and just clip Dustin and then TKO him. But anything over the second round, I really favor Dustin Poirier here. He's just got so much stamina and so much technique. I mean, his defense is a little weird, how he defends strikes, but it works. Another thing I noticed about the fight was Conor's spinning kick was off. Like, his kicks weren't very good compared to how he used to fight. Like the Cowboy fight, it worked, but Cowboy hasn't been the same. That's why the kicks worked in that fight so good. As we've seen, Cowboy hasn't really been winning lately and only had one draw against Nico Price. So I think Conor really had an easy fight there. And the inactivity of Conor is really what's hurting him right now. Dustin's fought like 2 times more than Conor has. So hopefully this puts a fire in Conor and we get the old Conor back. But when I was watching Dustin Poirier on the Joe Rogan, he was talking about how he walked around at like 190. Like he cuts from 190. He's a big boy. That's I don't even know if Conor walks around that heavy. He cuts a lot of weight. I can't believe Dustin used to cut down to featherweight. Another thing is Dustin, we've just seen so much more talent from him. If you really think about it, he beat Eddie Alvarez too. He beat him twice. He beat Max Holloway. He's beat everyone other than Khabib. He's basically been on a tear. I mean, he has so much heart and grit. If Conor can't knock him out, it's going to be a problem. Like, I could see Conor couldn't even knock him down the last fight, and Conor should be able to at least knock him on his butt. Which is what I possibly see happening here, most likely, is Conor drops him like 1 or 2 times in the fight, but Dustin just comes back in the later rounds. I wish we could have seen Dustin versus Nate Diaz. That would have been a great fight to watch. I also wouldn't mind seeing this fight at welterweight. Like, if they moved up a weight class, that'd be interesting. And I see why Dustin takes this fight over the title, because Dustin can make so much money with this fight, then he can literally just go get the title back or try to get it back from whoever wants the title fight against Charles Oliveira and Michael Chandler, which I'm also very excited for that fight. Well, drop your predictions below. I'd like to know what you guys think. I'm rooting for Dustin this fight, 60% to 40% for Conor. I could see Dustin getting a TKO late or winning a decision.